Good morning, everyone. I'm going to ride around the world.
I'm Mick Claridge, and I'm going to ride around the world on my bike.
My son, he gave me advice at the start of this ride, and he looked at me and just said, "Dad, don't be a moron."
Let me do my animal signal to gain their respect.
How's it going, Sally?
Yeah, I'm alright, Mick. How's it going?
Worse than that bit in Lord of the Rings where they go into the top and the spider's in the tunnel. I'm just hoping there's a spider at the top of this one to kill me. Freezing.
And I failed. I moroned up the ride.
Last season, Fuji made its debut and was an unknown for many of the drivers. This time out, they returned with plenty of knowledge tucked into the back of their minds. Will this change the dynamic of this Japanese track's technical layout? We'll find out soon as we get ready to watch round 2 of the Lotus 79 Sunday Grand Prix Series, and you'll see it all live here on the Global SimRacing Channel. I am Joe Peak, and with me in the booth is Mick Claridge. Behind the scenes is our director Ryan Bauer, and he's using cameras provided by Dougie Beard. If you're not familiar with Fuji, you'd be forgiven due to Suzuka often stealing the spotlight. Let's head to our track guide to find out a little bit more about it. Welcome to Fuji International Speedway. Built right at the foot of the picturesque Mount Fuji and a mere 1.5-hour drive southwest of Tokyo, it certainly resides in a prime location. Having been around since 1967, this place is perhaps most well known for its presence in the classic video game Pole Position. However, its modern incarnation looks nothing like it did back when that game came out in 1982. At just under 3 miles, or 4.5 kilometers, its 2 layouts have 14 and 16 turns, which is significantly more than what it started with. Without the banking that used to be a part of the first and final corners, its most notable feature nowadays is the front stretch that covers nearly a full mile. The turns that make up the other half of the track make for quite a technical challenge. It includes everything from the long sweeper of 100R to the tight confines of hairpin, to the finicky back and forth of nets. This place hosted Formula One back in the 70s and again in the later 2000s, but it has a much stronger history hosting endurance racing. Sports cars are still a heavy staple here. That's not to say open-wheelers don't still call this place home, though. Lower-level formulas, as well as Japan's popular Super Formula, make frequent visits. From humble origins in sim racing's history to arriving 40 years later on iRacing, Fuji has been a fan favorite for a long, long time. Well, Mick, as I said, this is a bit of a newer one, of course, for a lot of drivers on iRacing, but I got a feeling that many of them have picked up a lot of tips from the last time we were here.
Oh, totally, Joe. I love this place. I ran a few laps this morning. One thing I have to say, it really is a track of two halves. You got the huge long straight, and then you go into the slowest corner I've ever driven into my life, and it's just so hard to get this car slowed down for that turn one. Expect a lot of side by side into Coca-Cola, and then 100R is just a throttle eggshell moment through the whole corner. No chicane today. The guys are running as close as the historic layout as they can. And then, again, Joe, the huge long straight there you can see at the top of the screen. I can't wait for this one. This is going to be great.
Yeah, I have a feeling it's going to throw up some interesting events, not just because of the drafting, but because we're hearing that the downforce settings are going to be kind of different between some of the drivers. Now, as for the championship, if we take a quick glance at that up at the top, it is Timo Karjalainen, who is currently at the point currently with Partanen chasing him with Tolinen back in third. It was an all-finish podium last time out when we were at Monza. Alex Millward followed them home with another Finn, Timo Väskylampi, finishing out the top five. From there, it gets a little bit more varied amongst the countries, but even still, it seems like not much has changed in the 79s over the years, and it's still the Finns are the ones to beat. We do have a new championship, though, here, Mick. We have the F2 championship to help those who are maybe not as quick as guys like you to have something to compete for.
Oh, bless you. Well, yeah, F2, yeah, following on from the Lotus 49 guys, Antonio Alvarez looks like he's leading 23 points, Ronnie, after one round. So, yeah, Fausto Bergmeister, -2 there. Marco Antonio Lopez Salgado in third. Jack Wells in fourth. Fifth, Thomas Barfly, and the rest of the guys down there, all the way down to 10th, Alejandro Fernandez. Looking forward to this F2 championship. We're going to see if they take it as serious as the 49 guys.
I'm pretty certain they will. I have a feeling they're going to be eager to be able to compete for something. That's for those who are 3,000 I rating and lower, for those wondering, which ironically, I look at our stuff and we only have about 5 cars here in the top split that are below that. But let's take a look at the race details. And we are in round 2, as we mentioned, 25 laps around this track. It is an open setup series, as we briefly mentioned, with the downforce. So expect that to have a great effect on the race itself, and as well how each car handles throughout the lap. No spare car, though. It is a modern Grand Prix track, so there's a lot of paved runoff. It's going to be hard-pressed to hit something, but you could still tangle with people as there's a lot of back and forth at this track. So drive-through penalty at 17 incidents, that is a concern with the paved runoff. You don't want to waste too many chances going outside the track boundaries. Disqualification at 25 if you are truly naughty out there today. Right now, though, we have cars just getting their first laps in as we hop on board and watch Partanen's run around here. Provisional pole here, Nick, for him. Tolinen is about a quarter of a second behind on the first time around. Do you think maybe this is going to be a case of the second lap maybe being a little bit better, or is the first lap the money lap?
I think the second lap's going to be better. I'm just going by what I did this morning, Joe. I'm not too good in the 79. I'll be the first to say that. It does warm up nicely. I think iRacing have done a really good job with the tyres lately now. They're just getting better and better and better. Gone are the days of the slow out lap and the speedy fast lap in qualifying. You know, the cars build up nice temperature now. You still have to watch the back end of this car no matter what you're doing, especially through these corners. These slow corners now, it's so hard to get the power down. You can see now down the main straight, Paulie. Let's have a look, see how his lap time.
Second lap by. It's a ways to go to get down to that timing line as well. And it's a 24.5. It is definitely faster by about 0.3. Tolinen was only able to go to a 25 flat, so it's a half a second now between the two on the front row. Michael de Turk has managed to get himself into third on his first lap, so he still has one more. Oh, but Mikko Laino, another Finn, joins the fray in the number 7. He takes the pole away and shoves Tolinen down to row number 2. We're watching Karjalainen now, who is yet to set a lap time. There are a lot of Finns out there today, honestly, so there's a good chance we could see another all-finish podium. And this is coming up through the net sequence. And look at how he's struggling, Mick.
Yeah, it's all rear end grip there. Look at it. It's so tough to stay on track like that. The car's just on an absolute knife edge when it does that, and you just lose lap time when you're doing it, and there's nothing you can do. You just got to hang on and see if you can make it through. Expect a lot of that in the race, Joe. This is going to be a tough one today.
Timo is amongst those that will be racing for Raccoon Racing. There's a lot of Finnish drivers in there, and perhaps most notoriously the non-Finn, well, honorary Finn, I guess, as they've made him, is Andy T. But he is not here today, unfortunately, to compete. He's just going to be on a partial season this time around for the last part of 2022. Karjalainen has enough time to get back around for a second lap if he wants it, but the first one is going to be good enough for fifth. I'm sure he'll be satisfied, though not super pleased with it, and he's going to carry on down through Daiichi.
One name I spot there, Joe, in ninth spot is Jordan Gronkowski. This guy is an ex-real-life driver. He actually won the Scottish Formula Ford Championship back in 2019. He's got his name on the same cup as Jim Clark. He's a hell of a racer. I've actually raced him myself in the 49, and yeah, I won't really go into what happened, but I didn't beat him. I'll put it that way. The guy knows how to race, trust me.
Yeah, we saw him a few times last season in those Lotus 49s, and he is quite quick in a car that lacks downforce. What about here in a car that really relies on it? Man, big oversteer moment for the 2 car there.
Yeah, look at this corner. This left-hander is so tough to slow down, turn, using tons of curb on the exit there. Nice wide entry now into the last turn. Get that apex. Yeah, he's got it up. Bit of oversteer on the exit. Just full throttle now down the straight. Let's see how he gets on.
I'm showing him as improving on his lap time right now. He should jump up a couple positions if this is accurate. 25.1 becomes a 24.8 just as the bell rings and qualifying is over, and he moves up to third. So that will set our grid today. And Mikko Laino is on the pole. 2 bonus points for that for him. Pauli Partanen will be second, and Timo Karjalainen starts P3. After that, Michael de Turk will start from fourth, and Jukka Tolinen P5. Andreas Henkel starts from 6. Phil Reed will be P7, and Kimmo Viekainen will be in the 8th position. Gronkowski only good enough for 9th in qualifying. We'll see if his race pace is better as Luis Nunez rounds out our first slide there in the top 10. Tony Garcia will be in 11th behind that. Dylan Freckleton starts on his outside. Andreas Schuster, who took a victory in the Camel Series last week, will start from 13th here in the 79s. Timothy Reed, 14th, will be followed by Pat LaBrosse in P15. It'll be Peter Konieczny on his outside. Tomas Bogfai starts 17th. It'll be Jorge Exposito in 18th, and then Mike Rasimas, P19, top 20, going to be rounded out by Heitor Sintes Galindo. From there, it'll be Armando Edwards in 21st, Jean-Francois Boscus in 22nd, and Seamus Power 23rd. Chris Roberts starts 24th, as Vedo will be in 25th, Van Voorst 26th, and Keith Herner rounding out your 27 car field. All 27 managed to get lap times in here, Mick. And while the last of them get ready to go, it's 96 Fahrenheit on the track itself. A little bit of wind. Doesn't seem like it's too terribly hot, but I'm sure managing the tire is going to be important over the course of this thing.
Yeah, watch out for the notorious understeer of the Lotus 79 for a good lap and a half. Maybe into lap 2 will be all right. But yeah, anyone trying to move on the lap 1 has got some guts. I'll put it that way.
All right, here we go. Engines start to rev as the lights come up for round number 2 at Fuji. And the green flag is out. Off the line, Mikko looks pretty decent, but unfortunately catching up to him. It looks like Partanen is better in the second half of the launch. 3 wide is now coming up the middle of them. That is... Oh, and somebody gets punted off. Was that our pole sitter? No, it was Viekainen.
Yeah, I can't see who it was who went up the inside, but he completely missed his brake marker and sent him over, and he's just rolled the car there. That's it. That's race done.
That was Viekainen, it appears, and it was Mikko Laino. They got sent on his lid, so it was our pole sitter who is out along with Kimmo. Unfortunately, I don't see them getting any sort of decent result today, even if they can get the car out there. So now Partonen leads, Karjalainen is second, and De Turk manages to avoid the chaos and remain in third.
Yeah, I was just about to rave on Mikko's qualifying time, because I don't think I've actually ever seen him pole. I'm not too sure, Joe. You may be about to correct me, but yeah, it was a great lap. Such a shame he's been taken out like that. But yeah, just watching up the front now, looks like Paulie's got a nice little gap against Timo there. Already come around to finishing the first lap now. Just nice wide entry into the last corner and away down the straight.
Well, Van Voorst had a bit of an off at the back of the field, so he's now recovering from that, but that was minor compared to that incident. Mikko, I'm trying to remember if he has had poles before, but he's definitely been up there.
He's been up there, yeah. He's definitely been up there.
Oh, man, we'll get a replay of that in a second. So we fly down into Daiichi once again. You can see a few cars popping out in the background as they try to use that slipstream, use their top end speed, and a couple ducking and diving down into that right-hander, and a few close moments, including for Schuster, who goes 3 wide there in the background as they plunge down towards Coca-Cola now. But it looks like the front of the field is solid, so I wonder if we could have a chance to take a look at what happened. I think this is just overambitious from Kimo. He's going to be in the purple and white car down to the very inside. To me, Mick, it looks like he even clips the grass a bit.
Yeah, just watching that from above. Oh, yeah, he did. That was it. Yeah, you got it right, Joe. Yeah, 2 right-hand side tires. It's amazing that he kept the car straight, even though it was braking on the grass. But yeah, look at that. It's terrible for Mikko.
There's nothing Mikko can do in that situation.
No.
The car's upside down. All he can do is tow, and it's certainly not going to be in a great condition after that. Ooh, Andreas Henkel just had an off. This was, I believe, coming out of Dunlop, and he's going to get it going. And that sent him far down the field as well. As we ride on board with Karjalainen, you can see the aid of Henkel now trying to recover and get sent into the thick of the action. Someone shoved off on the outside of nets, unfortunately. This is a frantic start to this race.
Yeah, just a quick little word on that incident. As he goes on the grass there, as we watch the replay, yeah. I missed that the first time round, but yeah, lucky he didn't roll back into the racing line there. But yeah, just going to give you a quick word on Mikko's incident. That incident could have been really scary for him, because some of the guys on the service, they have headphones on and they have them quite loud. I do it myself, and if you can't see a car coming in like that and it hits you, it really scares the life out of you sometimes, because you just don't expect it.
Oh, I'm sure. Yeah, it was probably surprise and then instant rage, I'm sure. Yeah. Starting from pole, and you didn't even get to go through the first corner. And he literally did nothing wrong in that situation. So, yeah, I feel for him. We're back to Peter Konieczny here in the 9th spot. He is chasing on Dylan Freckleton currently. Something's now happened to Tolinen as well. Another top driver falling backwards. He had a self-spin, it looks like, coming into the net section. So don't need to go to that for now. You can see he is carrying on in the 4 car. But I would have thought that the faster drivers would be having an easier time with this track now that they've got the experience down, Mick. I wonder if it's that low downforce stuff we were talking about.
Yeah, we're not sure. We was having a chat with Michael De Turk earlier, wasn't we? And he's saying that the guys are using all sorts of different downforce levels today. Some are going for the low, but I tried it in the practice session this morning. It was tough as anything around the infield, so I'm not sure it's going to work. Like you can always tell by looking at the top speed of the cars and who's in draft. Worst case scenario for some of the guys is watching a car catch up with you in the corners and then seeing it go past you on the straight. And that really is a worst case scenario for the 79. But I'm just sitting on board with Jordan Gronkowski now in 6th place here. He's moved up 1 spot. Watching the battle in front. He's in a nice little battle here with Luis Nunez and Phil Reed. They were a lot closer together last time by. Jordan's probably just learning the car, I'm guessing. Not seen him in the car before. I don't know if you have, Joe, but it's great to see him in the car.
No, I don't think I've seen him in the 79s before this, and he is handling it quite well and is putting some big pressure on Phil Reed now, who was in an intense battle with Nunez. You could see him chop him off as they headed into Coca-Cola this lap. But since then, he's definitely fallen away, and the red and white of the number 13 is approaching and starting to poke his nose a little bit.
Yeah, and watch out for the guy behind, Timothy Reed, the veteran Lotus 79 driver. He's catching these hand over fist, so he's going to be on him now at the straight, and I'm not sure he's going to have enough toe to get past, but yeah, his last lap Prix was a 26.2, Jordan's was a 26.7, so yeah, there's a bit of a chunk of a lap time difference there, so expect a battle pretty soon.
Oh, and a battle for the lead as well as they go side by side. Karjalainen versus Partanen. And it's going to be Timo who takes the opening blow there for Raccoon Racing. So Partanen tries to come back at him. He's going to fight hard into Coca-Cola, but that's a hard place to make an overtake, and he backs out.
Yeah, I was expecting too wide through turn 3. What's the matter with these guys, Joe? Well, don't they know how they can do that?
Well, down into the hairpin now, as it slows down, and then it's going to unleash once again up to Dunlop. It's, again, not the chicane version like we saw F1 visit here a few years ago and had a nice slow chicane that allows you to pass. Here it's a quick flick, and then it bleeds into this slower uphill stadium section that continues to climb the entire time. But it looks like Karjalainen has Partanen covered for now. So I wonder if he's going to start to streak away. What's it going to look like on the front stretch between them?
Yeah, it's time to check out the top speed of these guys, isn't it? Let's have a look, see how they get on. I was watching Paulie just a minute ago. He's really attacking the apexes through those slow corners. I'm just watching the top speed of these guys. Let's have a look, because it will tell you a story, you know, how these guys have set these cars up. So Paulie's at 166, 67. Looks like he's going to hit 170. Karjalainen's, I'd say, a good couple of mile an hour slower. So yeah, if Paulie can scrape his way back up to the gearbox, it might be on for the straight. Let's have a look. Timu's looking pretty quick in the infield, isn't he, Joe?
Yeah, he is. And
Yeah.
Partanen did have the draft for what it's worth, so he was about a mile an hour or so faster there on the straight, but I think he had some help. It's hard to judge right now.
Yeah.
I do think that Karjalainen might have the straight line advantage if that's the case, if he was in the clean air and only losing that little as wow. We go side by side down through 100R and into the hairpin, and this is going to be a scary spot for these guys. This is Esposito chasing Freckleton and Konieczny. Thankfully, nothing becomes of it because there are so many lines that you can take into that corner, but it does carry on as they head towards Dunlop. That's Konieczny at the front of this trio.
Yeah, just watching the light. Oh, Konieczny was well wide on the exit, and he's left it open there. Freckleton's good. Yeah, he's got it. He's got it done. But Konieczny is going to get down the inside again. How's your braking into this corner? Braking and turning at the same time. Freckleton's going to get a nice exit, but Esposito's there. He's there now because these guys are fighting, Joe. This is going to be a free wide down the straight, isn't it? You can. Oh, Freckleton was a.
Way wide, yeah, and now Hankel is on top of him. They have more than just those three to worry about. Konieczny is going to be side by side, but it looks like Jorge has the straight line speed. In fact, he is streaking away, even though he is pushing the hole in the air ahead of them. So he's clearly got it trimmed out, but Freckleton isn't too shabby himself. Hankel is going to try and capitalize on everybody being distracted. Can he get a 2 for 1? He's going to get at least 1, it looks like. Now he's going to get 2 as he gets better traction out of Daiichi, but he's going to be on the wrong side of the track down into Coca-Cola. This will take some bravery, and he's got the guts to do it. No, he goes wide. He's back on the track, and he still has the position.
2 cars behind Joe, Aitor Sintes Galindo side by side with Mike Razimus as well. These guys have joined into this battle as well now. Just watching Razimus is all the way around outside of Sintes Galindo. He's going to get this done on the inside of this turn. Huge right-hand turn now. Gets it done before the brake marker. Let's see how Aitor can brake into this. Oh, he's well late on the brakes. He's saved that one. Oh, he's off. He's off.
Just a little too ambitious, and he gives it up.
He's lost another spot.
Yeah, that's going to be Schuster who sneaks on through. Man, that absolutely erupted. Esposito's loving it, though, because he's jumped away from everybody as we watch them come now up through Panasonic and onto the front stretch once again. Here we go. Who's got the straight line speed? Hankel is now clear of almost all of them, so he might be able to pull away. But Timothy Reed in 7th place on Phil Reed is going to just fly on by, and that's going to move him into 6th. Will we get a fight back and an over-under from Phil? And it looks like the battle of the Reeds goes to Tim.
Yeah, nice move there. A lot more power, a lot more speed down the straight there for Tim there. Yeah, it's done and dusted before turn 3.
Freckleton has a nose in on Konechny, so he's not going to give up on it into Coca-Cola as well. This fight back through that corner is fascinating, and he actually does a good job of holding on to Peter Konechny. So it looks like Freckleton might have a chance into the hairpin if he's really brave. They send it down into the left-hander. The inside goes to the 16 car, and I think, did not anticipate that. That was Rasimas that Peter Konechny just made contact with.
I was just about to say, Joe, watch out for Mike Razimus because he's behind these guys, and he was a long way back, but too wide between them in front. It just really dragged him up there. Andres Schuster's still there in the hunt for this, and someone's gone wide there. Oh, it's Peter Konechny, went well wide there into the right-hander. That's given Freckleton a really big gap now. So,
now Mike is right on top of him.
Yeah, Mike's all over these apexes. He's really nailing this. Again, look at Peter. He's so wide there in the last turn. Looks like Masum's going to get a really nice run down the front straight now.
I think Mike's got a good shot at taking this position, but he's not pulling on him. Oh, this is Phil Reed, that we're on board with right now, down into the braking zone on Timothy Reed. So that doesn't work out between that pair. Meanwhile, Mike down to the inside with a slight nose ahead over Peter Konechny. He takes the apex away into the hairpin behind them. Same thing for Garcia on Sintez Galindo. Both get away ahead.
Yeah, nice move there for Mike. Done and dusted nice and early as well. But Pete was so close to him in turn 3 there. I don't know if he was planning to be that close on the brakes, but yeah, nicely held.
So Konechny still having to fight back. Big slide coming through the hairpin. Now Schuster sizes him up. It's all going wrong for the 21 car.
Yeah, I'm going to say Tony Garcia now is about 10 car lengths back. I was going to, now he's back in this battle, Joe. These guys are battling so hard. It's just dragging all these cars up. And again, Peter's gone really wide there into that right-hander. Let's see how he gets into the left where he has to brake and turn. Such a tough corner this is, Joe.
Yeah, this whole last section, whenever I was driving laps for some of the guides for this, it frustrated me to no end to get that one right. By the way, on board here with Schuster, I love his paint from what I've been seeing on the off-board shots. Look at that. It's so perfect for this track.
Oh, perfect, yeah. Yeah, I'm loving that.
Don't think it's the right time period. I think that's more of an 80s scheme, but it's still just, it looks perfect on this car and down to his inside. Unfortunately, it's going to be a perfect pass for Garcia to get himself into 13th. So Schuster down to P14 because of that one.
Yeah, Garcia got a good look at the Hitachi colours there as he went past.
Meanwhile, up at the very front, Timo Karjalainen still leading by about a second and a half now. So Partanen hasn't exactly completely dropped, but he's not really a threat right now. There you can see the distance as we ride on the gearbox of Timo.
Yeah, I'm looking at Michael de Turk now behind. He's lost a bit of time to these guys ahead now. So this lead battle's spread out a bit, hasn't it, Joe? Maybe a mistake's going to, or back markers maybe will close this back up again, but can't really see it, mate. It's looks like it'd be done and dusted, this one.
Yeah, we have only lost 2 cars, Mikko and Kimo, at the very start of the race, and we still have 25 out there, but it's a long ways up to Jean-Francois Boscas. And with this being the top split, they're pretty even on pace out here. As I mentioned, we only have about 5 or 6 cars that are below 3,000 iRating for the F2 Championship. Hankel, in the meantime, on board, chasing Esposito down into Daiichi, and he is going to outbrake him by a wide margin. Is he going to make the apex? Yes, he is.
I didn't think he would, Joe. I was just about to say there's a good over and under chance here because he'll miss the apex, and he absolutely nailed it. He must have broke really late to get there, but to get the pass done. But I mean, he really nailed that apex. Nice move.
Yeah, and he's already taken off like a shot. Meanwhile, Peter Konechny coming through 100R now as he leads ahead of Sintez Galindo and chases on Tony Garcia. Stays on the racing line, down into the plunge of the hairpin, drifts back uphill as it heads towards 300R now and into Dunlop. You can see long craning sweepers up until the quick flick here through Dunlop. All of them just trying to glance that inside curve and then set up for the braking into the net sequence.
Yeah, forgive me, Joe. I'm just looking at the guys behind this battle. Yuka Tolanen's back there. I can't think why he would be back there. Have I missed something there?
He had a spin earlier, but he was already back when he had his spin. So yeah, I'm not entirely sure what put him in that position. I'll have to go back and check. But right now, he's trying to cut back in a big way. Huge over-under, and he's going to have a massive launch.
Yeah, that's how you do that, ain't it? I was watching Yuka earlier. He was well in 24s in the practice session I watched him in.
I did find out what happened. Coming through the first corner on the first lap, Tolanen got hit by, it looks like Luis Nunez, spun him around, and that's what put him at the back of the field. So it looks like another spot there as he outbrakes Andreas Schuster at the scene of his accident. And Tolanen back up to 15th at least, but he started this race in 5th. And there's going to be some frustrated drivers after this one.
Yeah, none more than Mikko. That was terrible, wasn't it, at the start? Just sitting watching you. Oh, Yuko, he's lost the back end coming out of the left-hander there. But yeah, I don't know, Joe. I was watching, I forget the guy who was yesterday in Camel, just driving all the way from the front. Sorry, it was a Lotus 49, Seb Tixio, right, driving from the back to the front, and he said he enjoyed it. So you never know. Yuka might be enjoying himself out there.
Yeah, could be giving him some excitement. It's definitely giving him a lot to do in this race. And thankfully for him, I think the amazing thing is I'm not seeing a whole lot of damage on Yuka's car. So he must have gotten away lucky with that tap that he had. And once again, he is just setting himself up every time out of that final turn. And I think that's what's making the difference here.
Yeah, done and dusted. Not sure what Ato's going to do here, if he's going to let him go or fight for this. Let's just check it out. But Yuka's got a nice top speed. Well, look a bit exactly matched, to be honest. If anything, Ato's coming back at him along the outside now.
Sorry, we had a spin for Timo Karjalainen just now. Coming out of Coca-Cola, he's lost the lead. Pauli Partanen is back through, didn't hit anything, and he caught the spin. But Timo is now in second place, and he's got almost 2 seconds to make up to catch him. Here it is. Just straddled the curb almost, it looked like.
Yeah, he did well to keep that pointing in the right way in the end, didn't he?
Watch it from above here. This is shocking coming from Timo.
It'd have been hard on the power. Yeah, that's a weird one, isn't it, Joe? It would have been hard on the power there, full throttle. I don't know if the car bottomed out there or what it did on the curb there, but very strange, very strange.
Usually he rarely makes mistakes. We thought it was going to be done and dusted for him, but now not so. Meanwhile, into the stadium section yet again, we get some side-by-side battles. Tolanen goes by Rasimas and now sets his sights on Peter Konieczny. That is up to 13th position for the 4-car.
That's a good battle. I was just going to say, now we're going to see how fast Timu can drive this car, aren't we, Joe?
Indeed. And I think that he's going to be full throttle for these remaining 12 laps or so as we watch them fly down the front stretch, fight for 12th position. Well, Yuka's probably at least glad that he trimmed the car out because he's looked a lot faster in a straight line than most of his rivals up to this point, and actually shakes Konieczny a little bit wide at the apex of the first hairpin. That'll give a better exit for Tolanen, who is going to just go on by. I think Peter may have lifted a little there.
Yeah, I'm not actually sure he knew he was there. Peter was on his way over to the right-hand side to take the racing line, and then at the last second ducked out of it. So yeah, Mike Rasmus all over the back of Peter now. But Peter again misses an apex badly, and he's going to let Mike straight through here. It's done and dusted, Joe.
I don't know. He's going to be on the outside. Yeah. They're coming up to Dunlop. This is going to be hard to go too wide through here. How brave are they? Not brave enough if you're Konieczny. He gives up the ghost.
Yeah, it was tough to get on the brakes there and get in for the inside line there, wasn't it? That's Galindo again. He's now on the back of Peter again now. So, and as they head into this tight left-hander, hard to get on the brakes and turn the car. Watching Peter there losing the back end. None of them are quite as wide. It was fun there.
That was Mike. The 11 is around. didn't hit anything or anyone, but he falls all the way to 18th. Everybody's so tightly packed in the mid-pack here that you're not just losing one position, you're seeing a couple fly by. Here's from the onboard, Mick.
Yeah, I've done it so many times this morning, Joe. In practice, it's so easy to do. This car has got no downforce at those speeds, those low speeds. It's so tough to get the power down. Second gear, hard on the power. You really have to feed it through. And once it goes, it's so hard to save it. It's normally just gone.
Yeah, it looked like a slow, lazy spin, but this is a fast, intense battle here between Sintez Galindo and Knesny. Peter just can't seem to get away from all the action here today. He's going to be on the outside, down into the hairpin. He'll be offline, but this time, understandably so, as Sintez Galindo just about running to the side of him. Now he's going to lose a position as Schuster says, thank you very much. I'll take 14th.
Right, I keep looking at the car behind this battle that keeps raging all race through, and now it's Tomas Barthel. So I'm going to say that he's going to be involved in this battle very soon, and already it looks like he's catching up with these guys. So yeah, I was about to say, just as we saw Mike spin there on the exit onto the front straight, that no one seems to be taking that Yuka wide line into the last corner. It's definitely beneficial if you can do it. Maybe none of these guys are just able to get the car out that wide, but it would definitely help down the front straight. Bit of a gap between these four guys now, all the way down the straight. I don't think there's going to be any passing now into turn one.
Knesny is going to go defensive anyways. You can see him up there, and Schuster follows him. Schuster's got a huge run, actually. Pokes his nose to the outside with the defense from Peter down into that first corner. A long way around for the Hitachi car, and it's not going to get the job done. He'll stay in 14th.
Yeah, brings Galindo back into the battle again, doesn't it? Nice turn into turn 3 is one of the best turns on iRacing, I think, and the reason I say that is because they've put a bollard there so you can see where the apex is. It's actually a blind corner, but just because of that bollard you can see exactly where you need to brake and put it in there. But again, that mistake on the exit to lose the lead, I'm still shocked at that one, Joe.
Yeah, same here. And it hasn't changed stands. Timo's still about 2 seconds behind. We're at Pat Labrosse now in 20th, a little bit farther back. He's trying to chase on Mike Rasimas in the 11. That's him up ahead. Timo Karjalainen, and just as soon as I say that, takes the fastest lap of the race. And up ahead, we have a car off. That is Andreas Schuster into the net sequence. Not sure what caused this. And it looks like it was a self-spin for him, just too hot into the corner from what I can see on my replay.
Yeah, again, Mike Rasmus now all over the gearbox. Back onto the front straight we go then. Not sure what downforce levels these guys have got against each other, so we're going to find out.
It was going as soon as he turned into the corner. Yeah, so I think he sent it in too hot and had to pay the price there. Eventually the car said, I can't do that. And we back up to Phil Reed, who got passed by Hankel this time into the first turn. Easy slipstream pass between the pair of them. Nothing that exciting, frankly. So, and I know it says 44 on the back of Reed's helmet. He's actually the number 5 out there as we come back once again between this never-ending battle in the mid-pack that sees Sintez Galindo, Bart Fye, and Edwards heading down into the hairpin.
Yeah, a bit of a gap between these guys at the moment, isn't there, Joe? I'm just wondering if they, again these different sort of set. Galindo's so early on the brakes there. I was sort of thinking exactly the same thing about that earlier on when we was watching the braking from Galindo. He just seems really early on the brakes into that corner.
You would know better than me on that one, because this is one car I am definitely not quick and agile in, and we're going to follow Edwards down the front stretch now. So Sintez Galindo just in front of him, going to give a nice tow, and it looks like it is going to be enough for Edwards to at least catch up to him. The question is, can he make it pass? Wow, huge amount of speed. Yeah, he's going to be fully by the braking zone.
Yeah, 6 mile an hour difference there into the braking zone. So yeah, not much. Oh, he spun it.
Well, it's not the entry, it's the exit that catches him. And is he going to park it? It's not been a bad race for him. No, he's getting going. Okay. Just unfortunately, the car wound up there, and he has to take the access road to return. But man, huge loss, 23rd. Oh, and now he does tow.
Yeah.
So, well, that's a bit of a shame. He wasn't having a bad race. Meanwhile, this is on board with Karjalainen, and as he crosses the line, I wonder if we could pull up the lap comparison, because he has now begun cutting down into it. And there you can see the proof in the pudding. Last 3 laps have all been faster. In fact, 4 out of the last 5 have been quicker for Timo.
Yeah, and that gap's not that big now, Joe. I'm just looking now, it's down to a second, so yeah, this is on. What have we got, 6 laps left? Yeah, this is on, Joe. This is serious pressure now for Paulie. Serious pressure.
So, Partanen, who came away second last time, but behind, well, actually, it was behind Timo Karjalainen. So this is round 2, quite literally and metaphorically, between the pair of them, as the battle carries on for the lead in this championship, not just the lead in this race. Neither of them took the pole. It could be down to fastest lap on whether or not they wind up tied here, because if Partanen gets fastest lap and the win, he'll score 58 points to match Timo, and Karjalainen, without fastest lap in second, will be tied with Pauli, and they certainly seem to be pretty closely matched. One thing I did love that we heard last week, Mick, that Pauli mentioned there, is that apparently the Pauli Partanen special that he's got is a actual reverse of the old Lotus, John Player special Lotus scheme. So instead of black and gold, it's dark blue and white.
Brilliant. Yeah, I like that. Yeah, I was just thinking as you was talking there, Joe, I was thinking, I think I can handle 3 months of these battling, don't you?
Oh, absolutely. If
Yeah.
This is what we're in for, even if it's the two of them pulling away from the field. This is intense stuff. I mean, we saw one tiny mistake change the course of this race, and it didn't even look that big, as there was a slide from Partanen coming out of the hairpin. So I think you're right. I think Pauli is feeling that pressure already.
Yeah, last time by Timo 125.1, Paulie 125.2. That doesn't sound like much, Joe. That's enough. That's enough for Paulie to look in his mirrors and say to himself, Timo's catching me.
Yeah, I'm sure he's fully aware of what's going on in those mirrors. And they're down to 0.7 of a second now here through this slower section. Wonder if Timo could be just a little bit stronger through the twisty bits of this track. Let's see if it changes on the front stretch, and it is growing back. So yeah, Partanen better out of the final corner. They're going to cross the line and take 5 laps to go to decide this race. Partanen this time by with a 25.3, 25.1 for Timo Karjalainen. That's another 0.2 chopped away.
Yeah, I just watched Paulie out from the last turn. He took such a wide line. I was going to call it the Yuka line, but now I'm going to call it the Paulie line. he's taken the record for the widest line at the last turn.
Yeah, just setting himself up, trying to make himself safe. I got to think, because it looks incredibly hard to pass everywhere else. So I'm guessing, I mean, all things being equal, make yourself safe out of that final turn. You cover yourself off for most of the lap.
Yeah, do you know what, Joe? Not to take anything from any of the other battles we've seen, I think if these guys end up running too wide down into turn 1, I think we'll see a too wide into turn 3, because both of these guys will know how to handle the exit of turn 1. So we haven't seen much of that today, but I think it's on the cards now. I think Timo is going to catch Paulie before the end now. He seems to be better through the infield to me. Again, Paulie's so wide on the... Oh, Timo's well crossed up on the entry there. That would really hurt him. That would annoy me if I did that, and I think that would him as well.
Well, as they come down the front stretch, once again, he looks a little closer. No, he's not, actually. The numbers say otherwise. 1.2. Timo was slower. 25.4 versus the fastest lap of the race for Partanen at a 24.9. He's on the throttle now, and he's trying to run away.
Yeah, Timo lost all of that in the last turn, Joe. He was so crossed up. He was It had been a good 30 degrees of opposite lock down the steering. So, yeah, he lost all the time. You can't do anything about it. You know yourself, you can't get the power down if the car's all over the place like that.
Well, Tolan may have met his match in terms of straight line speed. Freckleton was right in front of him, and he still wasn't pulling all that much. He's going to get to the inside anyways and try and outbrake him down into Daiichi. Freckleton fights around the outside, but runs out of road.
Yeah, Freckleton had real trouble getting on the power then out of turn 1, didn't he? It's not happening in turn 3 now, so yeah, that battle's done and dusted. Yuka's doing a nice job today. Bad start position, but yeah, he's coming back. I think he'd probably enjoy this race.
He made it into the top 10, so it'll be a loss of 5 if he finishes here. It's going to be a long ways to get him up to Esposito by about 2 seconds there, so I'm not so sure about that. It's not impossible, but we'll see. Meanwhile, 3 to go when they cross the line. It's back down to 1 second, so Karjalainen picking up the pace himself. It is tit for tat between these two, trying to match each other, answer to each other's pace, crossing the line. Partanen 25-1, Karjalainen 24-8, and also now taking the fastest lap of the race. Okay, and again, with how evenly matched these two are, I gotta wonder if that will come into play later in the season. Peter Konieczny, by the way, had a spin down towards the back of the field. I think that was in Dunlop. Didn't hit anything. He carries on.
I was just watching Timu there on the entry of Prix. He had the 2 wheels on the right-hand side of the curb there. They were absolutely on the line of the grass. He's so on the limit now. Watching him down the main straight, he was a good 6 mile an hour faster. He's got the toe, but I think he's trimmed out a bit against Paulie now as well. So, yeah, I don't know if he can catch Paulie. I think he'll get past him quite easily. Oh, but he's on the grass there on the right-hand turn. Oh, right on the limit, Joe, trying to get round that corner. It's these just the low downforce setup maybe that he's got is really hurting him there in the low corners, slow corners, sorry. So again, Paulie's so wide, and again, Timu's lost the back end badly there.
And he's paying for it dearly. It's 1.4 seconds and growing down the main straight, 2 laps to go. I wouldn't say he's been overdriving the car, but because they both looked pretty in control for most of the race, but it seems like he is struggling now. As we come back to Tolanen, and I'm going to eat my words. He's already caught up to Esposito. This is for 9th.
I was just going to say about, as we watch Tolanen now, I was going to say Timu is absolutely on the limit of this car now. But, yeah, let's see how these guys do now down the straight. Jukka Tolanen now right in the slipstream. He's got a good top end. He's showed that he's got a good top end, hasn't he, Joe? But he's not really catching up to Esposito at the not.
No, he's
not happening. Ducks out just to have a little look and show him in his mirrors, but not nice early entry there. A little Mansell line there for Esposito, but Yuka's matched him there. Nice exit. And we're down to turn 3 now. Let's see how your entry is. Yuka right up on the curve. They both are. Nice apex for Yuka there as they head into the right-hander. And this is on now, Joe. He's going to go down the inside. Is he going to try it? No. Oh, right on his gearbox. Goes for the right-hand line. Gets it done, Joe. Or does he? No. Late on the brakes for Esposito there. Right round the outside for Yuka. Is he going to get it done into the slow right-hander now? Side by side, Joe. This is last of the late breakers. Who's it going to be?
Man, that was brave stuff from Tolanen.
Yeah, Yuka's got it.
But he's not got it done. Esposito's going to fight back with the over-under coming down into the stadium section, and he has to give it up eventually. Tolanen had to work for that, and he gets it done eventually in the number 4 into 9th place. Meanwhile, white flag is out for Pauli Partanen. 1 lap to go to answer the win that Timo took back at Monza and take it here at Japan.
Timo will be so annoyed with himself. Losing the back end twice in the last corner has really hurt his gap here. It's not going to happen, is it, Joe? A bearing mistake from Paulie, which I don't think is going to happen. This is done and dusted, and I think if he comes in afterwards for an interview, he'll tell us that he lost the back end in that last corner too many times, and that just really hurt his race there at the critical point where he needed to get it right.
I think you're right. But he doesn't have the fastest lap right now, and I'm not sure if he's going to be able to take it here on this final one.
He was actually on the grass. I just saw him on the grass there, Joe. I think he's probably going for it, but I don't think he's going to get. Yeah, he's really pushing now. They've lost the back end there again, coming out the left-hander.
On to the main straight. He is on the throttle. Clearly, it's a long ways down to the finish line, but he is there. The win is in the hands of the number 3 of Pauli Partanen, answering Timo Karjalainen from last week and taking victory here in Japan. Karjalainen finishes second, and he takes the fastest lap of the race bonus, unless someone behind him has an almighty one back there. How about Michael the Turk with a quiet third back on the final step of the podium?
Yeah, nice finish for Michael de Turk there. He always does well at Fuji. I remember him when we raced there last time, he did well that race. So well done to Michael. Nice, comfortable finish there.
Meanwhile, there we see as the rest of our drivers come to the line. Looks like, we got a bit of a battle now heading into Panasonic. That's Sintez Galindo in the Valvoline car being chased by Konechny, and Konechny's going to get a little bit of a slipstream, making it possible to try and fight for it, but I don't think he's got enough of the straight line speed. So Sintez Galindo will keep that 14th at the finish.
Yeah, Aitor was panicking there a bit, wasn't he? Going to the inside.
Yeah, trying everything to make sure he didn't lose out. 23 will finish on the lead lap. With Pat Labrosse being the last of them. That will send us to a quick break. We'll come back with the official results as well as driver interviews, so stick around.
iRacing is a sim racing game that combines a true-to-life racing experience with an online community of virtual racers from all around the globe. iRacing offers a multitude of officially licensed cars and tracks, laser scanned with millimeter accuracy. Their car models and mechanical systems are based on real-world physics, engineered in cooperation with manufacturers and race teams. Their skill license system ranges from rookie to pro, ensuring members are always pitted against those with similar skill sets. Members are able to sign up for a weekly race series, compete in time trials, host a private race with friends, and participate in racing leagues created and run by the community. With over 170,000 members, iRacing works in partnership with renowned motorsports organizations like NASCAR to deliver virtual races based on the real-life NASCAR Cup Series, as well as many other series on the NASCAR ladder. iRacing also features team racing, providing a variety of options for members to create and manage their own teams. Race with friends or real-world teammates in full-length endurance events like the 24 Hours of Daytona, Spa 24, or the Bathurst 12 Hour. Additional partners include IMSA, World of Outlaws, Supercars, and IndyCar, allowing members to race in their very own Indianapolis 500, Bathurst 1000, Chili Bowl, and many more iconic events. This is iRacing, delivering the most authentic racing experience short of getting into a real race car. Sign up today at iRacing.com.
Good morning, everyone. I'm going to ride around the world.
I'm Mick Claridge, and I'm going to ride around the world on my bike.
My son, he gave me advice at the start of this ride, and he looked at me and just said, "Dad, don't be a moron."
Let me do my animal signal to gain their respect.
How's it going, Sally?
Yeah, I'm alright, Mick. How's it going?
Worse than that bit in Lord of the Rings where they go into the top and the spiders in the tunnel. I'm just hoping there's a spider at the top of this one to kill me.
Freezing.
And I failed. I moroned up the ride.
Welcome back to Fuji Speedway after round 2 in the Sunday Grand Prix series. Pauli Partanen is your winner this time out. After finishing second to Timo Karjalainen last week, they've reversed. Timo finishing P2 and Michael de Turk getting himself a P3. Luis Nunez was fourth behind them. I don't think we even really talked about Luis this race, as he started from 10th, so he had a great climb. And then Jordan Gronkowski, who also had a bit of a hype in the lead up, did wind up doing decently, getting in the top 5. Timothy Reed was 6th, as Andreas Henkel was 7th, and Phil Reed was P8. Jukka Tolinen hit in the first corner. He wasn't the only one in that case. Had to climb back to only 9th after starting from 5th, and Jorge Esposito got a top 10. Dylan Freckleton looked like he was kind of struggling today and was constantly in a fight, usually on the losing end in most cases. Wound up 11th, so he still gained a position. Tony Garcia was 12th, as Tomas Bartfai was in P13. Sintez Galindo up 6th to get 14th spot, followed by Peter Knesny in P15, and then Mike Rasimas winding up 16th. Ryan Van Voorst, up 9 spots today. Again, really didn't get a chance to cover him because there was so much happening. He finished 17th. Andreas Schuster struggling, having some bad mistakes, finishing 18th. Seamus Power was P19. And Chris Roberts in 20th. From there, David Azevedo was 21st, and Keith Herner was 22nd. Pat Labrosse was the last one on the lead lap. Boskus just a little bit off the pace, a lap down in 24th. Edwards, Lino, and Viakainen were our only DNFs of the day. Lee, that's going to take us to our winner, Pauli Partanen, ready to chat with him. And Pauli, it's not going to be the championship lead. Didn't quite get that fastest lap, but you took the victory over Timo and were able to answer compared to last week in Monza.
Yeah, well, first of all, I had a very good race today, and I made 0 mistakes. So that was the key today. And I had a very good qualification also, but Leino was super fast, like very fast. Same that he was crashed on the first corner, I think. So would have been nice to see how fast he will be in race, but yeah, I'm very happy with the victory.
Now, I mentioned the fastest lap. Were you aware of where that sat at the end of the race, and are you thinking that much about the points? Because it looks like you and Timo are just insanely closely matched out there.
Yeah, well, of course I'm thinking about it, but usually when I'm leading, I'm not really wanting that too much. I want to be safely at the finish line. So of course I think about it, but I'm not really pushing for it ever. But yeah, this time Timo was faster, and if I may admit, he was faster whole week. So he deserved that fastest lap for sure.
We heard some of the drivers discussing what way to go with the downforce here, because it's obviously very technical on one half of the track, and then the other half is just that one long straight. What was your philosophy? Did you go low or high or medium downforce?
Well, I went medium whole week, but just before the broadcast, I took some wing off because I saw that everybody else has done the same. So I was thinking that, yeah, maybe they know something I don't. So I took a bit of wing off, and seems like it helped very much with my pace, because I was much faster this race than the previous ones. So lower downforce seemed to fit here, but it struggled on the harder parts of the track. So you need to be a really good driver, and this track is very hard. Like, I think this is the hardest track I have ever driven. So if you go with a low downforce, you really need to be sure that you can keep it on the road.
Well, again, congratulations on the win. It was fantastic to watch from our perspective. Who helped put you in victory lane?
Yeah, Jukka Tolonen, as always. He has helped me a lot this week, and also Michael trained with me a bit with the overtakes, and yeah, thanks to you guys also. These broadcasters keep me motivated.
Great stuff there from Pauli Partanen, who took the win from third to second for Timo Karjalainen. Mick has caught up with the man that led for a good chunk of the race, but saw that slip through his fingers.
Hi, Timo. Welcome to the booth, mate. I want to say congratulations on the second, but I think you're going to be quite annoyed with how that race went. Just before you tell us about the race, just talk about that incident out of turn 3. We saw you on the exit curb. I don't know, did it look like the car bounced when you was on power? Just talk us through that.
Hello. Yeah, yeah. I was a bit greedy on the curb. Like straddling the curb is fine, but I still tried to make the corner. If I just skipped out on the corner completely, I would have been fine. But the left rear tire just got caught, and it just sent the car the other way. And once it hit the floor as well, it just bounced the other way again, and it was pretty much unsavable. And obviously the rear tires were pretty much gone, just like my chances of winning.
Yeah, I was wondering that. We didn't really touch on it in the broadcast, but I'm just thought of it now. How was your car late on in the run? I mean, did it get loose? Did you set up to account for that? Or how was your car handled? Because me and Joe were both watching you towards the end of the race. I mean, I know just by looking, you was pushing as hard as I've ever seen anyone push a car there to try and catch Paulie at the end. You seemed to lose it a couple of times in the last corner, which really must have annoyed you. It would have me. I said it in the broadcast. So, yeah, just talk us through it, mate.
Yeah, it was quite okay to drive, but the exits of the corner were pretty much horrible. And it was manageable. I was catching Paulie at a steady rate, and I was putting pressure on him, and he made a couple tiny mistakes, and I got pretty close to him. But oh man, I didn't account for the third year being that bad from the last corner with the worn tires. It's just I barely squeezed the throttle, and I lost a couple tenths there on the exits every time. It was quite frustrating there.
Yeah, I fully get that. The car was on a knife edge through that corner most times, and when you lost it like that, it's so frustrating, especially when you've got to do a mile straight after that to try and catch back up what you've lost. Listen, thanks for coming in, Booth. What's your plans for the season? I know you're probably going to be running the whole season and going for the championship. How much practice are you going to throw into this car?
Not so much. Just purely just driving it every day.
You're a typical Finn saying that.
Yeah, well, it really helps when you just keep on driving the car. Like most seasons, I've been doing 1 or 2 races, and when you haven't driven the car for 1 or 2 months, it needs a little time to get that 1/10 or 2/10 from the car. So I'm pretty much set on. I feel comfortable in the car, and I don't think I need that much practice, but. I'm gonna need full push to beat Paulie and the guys here. They're so fast.
Yeah, as always, tough series. Lotus 79. Listen, thanks for coming in. Anyone you want to give a shout out to?
Yeah, thank you. Like to give a shout out to Michael, Kimmo, and huge congratulations to Paulie. He was a bit lost on the early stages of the week, and I'm happy to see him push me all the way down. And thanks for the broadcast, as always.
Yeah, thanks for coming in, Timo. So that was Timo Caroline in second spot there. Joe, you caught up with Michael de Turk.
I have indeed. Third place, not quite as much action as what we saw there with those top two, Michael. I mean, did it feel boring from your perspective?
It was exactly the race that I needed.
That's a good thing to hear. It didn't look like it started that way, though. You kind of had a front row seat to some of the biggest drama of the race. What was up with that down in turn 1?
I haven't watched the replay yet, but I saw the cars behind me were approaching much faster than they should have. And so I gave it just a little bit of extra brake and, had a bit of a jump scare and just got it turned in and thankfully got through without damage. For once, luck was a bit on my side there.
Yeah, we're seeing the replay now. And at one point, I think it's even 4 wide, I think, potentially almost. It looks like heading into there. My goodness. Yeah, here you can see it. So you got away a little bit lucky. And like you said, it seemed like it was kind of the calm race that you needed to collect yourself after that. A third place, a much better way to get things going after the experience at Monza. Do you think you can carry this on for the rest of the season here to kind of get this momentum in your favor?
I hope so. I'm not a huge Monza fan, to put it lightly, but my confidence hasn't been that high in Lotus 79. So having a really boring race like this, where it was just me against the track and just try not to make mistakes, and nobody was in my draft, like I said at the start, was really just what I needed to kind of help build that confidence back up and hopefully get back on pace.
Well, hopefully you'll be able to carry that into Sebring. You're going to need a good controlling car there. You're off to try and work out how to handle the bumps in this low-slung machine.
Yeah, I mean, I would say that the bumpier tracks I do well on. I like Long Beach and Detroit, but Sebring also has some pretty difficult braking down into the hairpin and into Sunset, and those are definitely not my strong suit. So it'll be a good challenge.
All right. Well, we'll keep an eye out for you. Who helped put you onto the podium today?
Big thanks to Timo, Kimmo, Paulie, Yuka for helping me practice all week and learn where my, I don't want to say strengths, but maybe where my weaknesses were. So big thanks to them, especially Timo, for really helping me right before we started today. So thank you.
Absolutely. Yeah. Sometimes it's not improving your strengths, it's improving where you're weak. And that was Michael DeTurk taking third here at Fuji. We're going to wrap up with a big thank you, of course, to the Lotus 79 community for bringing us back for another season of coverage, and also to the team today, Mick, Ryan, and Dougie. Make sure to check out our social media, our website, merchandise store. We got links down in the description below for those. Don't forget to subscribe to your YouTube channel while you're down there so you don't miss a moment. As we mentioned, the next race will be Sebring, Sunday, October 2nd at 12:30 p.m. Eastern. And be sure to check out our other broadcasts listed here, including up next, the Majors Euros race at Martinsville. It is the Virginia is for Lovers 300 here in just a few minutes' time. Until next time, though, race clean, race hard. We'll see you on the track.